making a quick video to try to help the next guy who finds himself in the unfortunate position of having to change one of these out. It's a Flywheel housing. This one's on a '08, just a Chevy Duramax truck with an Allison in it. And I guess I'm not a diesel guy. I kind of found myself having to do this one. What happens is they'll leak around here. Like here's an old O-ring, and you can see how mashed and shitty it is. And this one was just leaking coolant out. Here's the new one. The guys I've talked to have said that these can crack and also cause leaks. So it's one of those things, when I show you how aggravating it is, you're not going to want to take a chance on it. Just go on ahead and replace all of the, the plate and the gaskets and all. This one is missing a chunk right there around the starter, which I don't think was causing a leak or nothing, but just to show, that the parts do fail. Anyways, let me show you, because I have fought getting that one off there, and just show you everything you got to do. And it's a mess under here. But of course, drive shafts both have to come out. Cross member needs to come out because you have all sorts of clearance issues there. And then you have to pick it up and get the transfer case kind of slid over the torsion bar cross member. If I had it to do over again, I would probably go ahead and pull the transfer case just to get a little more room. But we got the transmission slid back enough to get in there to work on it. Of course, the obvious stuff is you'll have a bunch of bolts that go through that plate and into it. I'll show you on this oil cooler. There is a line right here that is aggravating to get loose. Looks like I need to probably go ahead and change that O-ring. And then there's two bolts that kind of come in through there that you take loose. And there's a bolt right here I took out. I don't know that you have to actually have that out. But the big thing that I didn't know about until I really studied that other part was this cross member piece here needs to come out to drop this oil pan, because up inside those holes there are 3 bolts, and they're I believe a 6mm Allen head bolt. Those 3 go through there, and then there's a 4th one, I'm wanting to say right in that hole right there, that go up into the bottom of that plate. And then the other thing, I had all of this out and I'm prying and can't figure out why it won't come out. There is a line at the top, like a coolant line there, that's got 2 12mm nuts that is just horrendous to get to. I was able to do it with a combination of different wrenches and stuff. Like that's a 12mm offset wrench I was able to use to kind of do it. If you had a low profile socket that had like the wrench end where it basically is a socket where you could get a wrench on it, that I think would be really ideal for doing that. But anyway, that's kind of the worst of it. I'll show you out here on that part on the oil cooler what you got to do there. But really, that line coming into the top of them 2 12mm bolts and getting to these were the 2 real aggravating big surprises I had. You can see on this, I just left it on there, right there. Left those 2 on, and then took these 2 loose. But to get to one of these, which one is it? To get to that one, there is a line here that you have to take off to get to it, and it's a booger too. Starter, of course, has to come out, and to do that, there's a down pipe right there for the exhaust that's in the way. I took it loose, and all the slip joints were welded on this truck, so I hooked a ratchet strap to the exhaust and just pulled it back and was able to slip the starter down out of there. And then you can get in there to your torque converter bolts through there too. I think there's 6 of those torque converter bolts, or no, there's 6. And then the flywheel bolts the flywheel bolts are absolute hell to get out too. They're torqued crazy, and without being able to get impact in there, what we had to do was well, I can't really show you under here anymore because the flywheel's off. We were able to shove a chisel through one of the holes in the flex plate, flywheel, whatever, and spin it over to where it would jam up on the starter housing there. And was able to break them loose that way, and we had one guy pulling and one guy pushing on the breaker bar, was able to break them all loose. The only other thing, turning the motor over was hard with, there's a fan and a bunch of crap up there in the way of being able to get on the snout of the crank. So we were able to come in here with a pry bar, nice and easy, and work it around like that. You don't want to crack that case or whatever. But anyway, I looked online. There wasn't a lot of information out there on it, and I know that this isn't a real great video, but I hope that answers some questions and maybe saves the next guy some trouble, because this thing just gave me an absolute fit. Had a terrible time with it. I'm gonna get it back together now, but hopefully that helps somebody out.